This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. The Panamanian President Martin Torrijos was in Washington earlier this week to discuss a pending free trade agreement with the United States. President Bush told reporters Tuesday that securing the agreement with Panama as well as Colombia and South Korea was a, quote, priority of this government and should be a priority of the United States Congress. He congratulated Torrijos on winning national approval for the $5.2 billion expansion plan for the Panama Canal and added, quote, Panama is an important friend and ally of the United States. But 3 decades ago, the moves to nationalize the Panama Canal by President Torrijos' father, General Omar Torrijos, met with enormous resistance in this country. Here, Ronald Reagan denounces Torrijos on national television in 1976 as part of his campaign for the Republican nomination.
Torrijos is a friend and ally of Castro, and like him, is pro-communist. He threatens sabotage and guerrilla attacks on our installations if we don't yield to his demands. Well, the Canal Zone is not a colonial possession. It is not a long-term lease. It is sovereign United States territory, every bit the same as Alaska and all the states that were carved from the Louisiana Purchase. We should end those negotiations and tell the General, we bought it, we paid for it, we built it, and we intend to keep it.
In 1977, under the Carter administration, General Torrijos succeeded in negotiating the treaties that would eventually give his country full sovereignty over the Panama Canal on December 31st, 1999. But General Torrijos did not live to see this transfer of power. He died August 1st, 1981, in a plane crash. I'm joined right now by a man who spent a great deal of his time in the late 70s with General Torrijos, who was trying in vain to convince Torrijos to acquiesce to American corporate plans for the Panamanian economy. He calls himself a former economic hitman. John Perkins is the best-selling author of, yes, Confessions of an Economic Hitman, and his latest book, now out in paperback, The Secret History of the American Empire. Confessions of an Economic Hitman is dedicated to General Torrijos as well as the former president of Ecuador, Jaime Roldos, both of whom died in plane crashes within 3 months of each other. Perkins writes, quotes, their deaths were not accidental. They were assassinated because they oppose that fraternity of corporate government and banking heads whose goal is global empire. John Perkins with us in our Firehouse studio. Welcome.
Thanks, Amy. It's good to be here again.
Your thoughts as Torrijos' son is now meeting with President Bush?
Well, Torrijos' son is very, very different from his father, and is really, follows this long line of destruction in Panama. So not only did we assassinate his father, Omar Torrijos, but later we went in and took out Noriega, killed maybe at least 2,000, maybe 6,000 innocent Panamanians, bombed the country. And after that, any president that came along, no matter what his true belief system was, would know that he was a target, that the United States was watching very closely. I think what's really fascinating right now, Amy, is that throughout Latin America, we now have 9 countries in Latin America that have voted in the president that said no more exploitation by the United States or by foreign corporations. And this represents more than 80% of the population of South America. And Martin Torrijos, Omar's son, the current president, is caught in this very difficult position where he's trying to get along with the United States, and yet he's in a country that has this history of repercussions against it. His father assassinated, another president taken out still in a U.S. prison. And so I think he's trying very hard to work out some sort of a compromise where he can coexist with the United States. He's not taking the same strong stance that these other 9 presidents are taking. On the other hand, he's not totally giving in to the United States the way Uribe of Colombia, for example, has. Something very, very significant is going on in Latin America today. And unfortunately, not too many people are talking about it except you.
Well, I want to play a clip from this new docudrama that's based on your life and story. It's called Apology of an Economic Hitman. This is a clip of Marta Roldos, the daughter of the former Ecuadorian president, Jaime Roldos. She's talking about how the death of her father was investigated.
There was great rush from the government that took over to close the case. The investigation that took place only lasted a week, 1 week. In 1 week's time, they had released a report saying it had been an accident. In reality, this was a joke. It was a joke. For me, there has always been a doubt. I want to know what really happened.
Former Ecuadorian President Jaime Roldos died on May 24, 1981. Less than 3 months later, the leader of Panama, General Omar Torrijos, also died in a plane crash. This is a clip also from the docudrama Apology of an Economic Hitman with Marta Roldos discussing Torrijos.
I believe he was worried. My father's death troubled him very much. According to his family, Torrijos said, if they come to kill me, don't interfere. Don't risk your lives.
John Perkins, your response?
Well, there's no question in my mind that both Jaime Roldos and Omar Torrijos were assassinated by CIA-sponsored jackals when we economic hitmen failed to bring